Hello, hello, Omri.
Hi.
Hi. So, do I have your permission to record this Skype interview?
Yeah.
Thanks. Also, do I have your consent to upload this interview onto a website? The website will have a password and will be viewable by graduate studies associates and other interviewees.
Yeah. Sure.
Great. So, I'm going to define my project and where I'm coming from. I'm doing my final project at Northern Arizona University in my Master's of Arts with a major in rhetorical writing and digital media. I chose an interdisciplinary focus, the study of the documentary Cowspiracy, its effectiveness as a model for behavior change toward environmental sustainability, and as a media literacy tool. And I described media literacy a little bit to you earlier. So, are you ready to start the questions? Yep, number one. Kapshida, should we speak in Korean and English?
No, I don't want to make a fool out of myself.
Oh, okay. All right. Please tell me about yourself.
um, Hi. My name is Omri. I'm 18 years old and a half from Israel. I have a great deal of interest in Asian cultures in Korea, and I speak Korean, and I study Japanese. I've been vegan for 2 years, an ethical vegan for 2 years, and nowadays I am raw vegan, following the 80-10-10 diet.
Wonderful.
I think.
Good. And so you saw Cowspiracy. When did you watch it?
Last night.
Okay, it's fresh in your mind. What did you think of the documentary?
I was a little bored.
Okay,
Uh,
go on.
I was a little bored because I've been ethical vegan for 2 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and throughout the vegan journey that I went through, I was I discovered so many facets to being ethical vegan, and for all the pros of being vegan when trying to excuse it to meat eaters or trying to sell it to meat eaters and trying to impact other meat eaters to go vegan. I went vegan purely because of animal cruelty
Mm-hmm.
and not wanting to take part of that. And then I discovered all of the other elements, which is environmentalism and health and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And the environmentalism part I discovered maybe a year and a half ago. So the information wasn't really shocking to me.
Yeah.
I think that Cowspiracy would have a huge impact on someone who thought they're environmentalists and put all their effort and energy into like saving water and making their life harder, which is good for saving the environment, but being celibate from meat and dairy, that's how we say it, like quitting any animal products is much more beneficial for the environment than like limiting your showers and composting and recycling and so on and so forth. And I do all of those,
Mm-hmm.
but I also just don't eat animals or contribute to that industry. And by doing so, I directly help the planet thrive. And I also ride my bike everywhere. I
Mm-hmm.
don't drive a car. Like the things that he showed in the movie are things that I naturally do. So that's why I thought it was boring. But for someone who does all those things but still eats meat and dairy and eggs and poultry and whatever, I think it would be really shocking, and it
Mm-hmm.
would be very intense because the way he made the film is to really just show you his journey and frustration when he tried finding the answers, because he wanted to do something good, and it's like people were just lying to him with their agendas instead of helping him doing something that's good and something that's contributive to humanity and to every species on the planet and the planet itself. Yeah, that's the short answer.
Wonderful. Were you surprised when he approached all of those organizations and they didn't know that animal agriculture was the leading cause of all these different problems with environmental devastation, including climate change, greenhouse gases,
I
rainforests,
was
and so on?
surprised they lied about it live. I don't think they didn't know. I think they just lied about it, but
Mm,
on camera, that's what I was surprised about,
yeah.
I was surprised by.
I wasn't sure with some of them. I felt like definitely they were covering something up, or at least it appeared that way in the documentary. And
When
some of
the
them,
government guys were just sitting there like,
you mean the water
government guys.
conservation guys? Yeah. Some of them I felt like they maybe didn't actually have that information, maybe one or two of them. Yeah, it's hard to know. Um, Number three, you already kind of answered. Did this documentary influence your attitudes, habits, behaviors in any way, like as far as wanting to research or your own diet? So you were vegan before you saw the film, right?
Yeah, no,
So
I didn't really. I had this thought of quitting putting my leftovers in the compost because it's like sort of gnarly and disgusting, the compost.
hmm
And I had this thought yesterday, but then I saw the film, and now I'm back into the
uh,
compost game. I have a neighbor who's also vegan because Israel, like everyone's vegan here. So my neighbor, she's vegan and she's like an environmentalist. Environmentalist. She grows like bees in her yard.
hmm
She has like a beehive thing that she made, and she has a composter. So she composts at home and grows her own veggies at home and whatever. So I usually throw all my trash into her compost because I don't have trash that's not fruit or veggies.
right. Do you know what percentage of Israelis are vegan? I think it's the highest in the world, but I don't know what
Um,
percent.
I think that we are about vegans and vegetarians together. I
Mm,
think are about 12% right now
okay.
in Israel, and I think that vegans maybe are 7%. So if we're 10 million, that's like 700,000 Israelis that live a vegan, ethical lifestyle.
Do you have any insight as to why the percentage of vegans is so high in Israel compared to many other countries?
I think that suppressed groups in society
Mm-hmm.
have an easier time relating to other suppressed groups in society. That's why most vegans are women. I think that's the explanation, in my opinion. And because Israel is mainly Jews, like myself, I don't follow the Jewish religion. I'm a deist, but I have Jewish heritage, and my grandpa. I mean, I'm Polish, so my grandpa was in the Holocaust. All my family was in the Holocaust,
Mm,
and I think from that point of knowing what it's like to be persecuted, and yeah, from that point of view, you can easily relate to any suppressed or oppressed group in society,
mm,
and that is animals right now.
right,
So
billions of
I think
animals.
that's why.
Did you get that from Jerry Yourofsky's interview?
No,
Or do you
I
think that
didn't
that's
see
just,
many Gary Yourofsky interviews, but Gary
oh,
Yourofsky's the one that got me vegan.
oh really? Yeah,
Like this speech.
his famous speech. I remember watching it a long time ago, and watching it again recently, and really, he's very powerful. But I did see that
Yeah, I
he,
watched it like 3 or 4 times, I think, in my 2 years of veganism. The line that got me vegan was, if it ain't good enough for your eyes, it ain't good enough for your stomach. And that was after he showed like a very short video of animal cruelty, and I skipped it, and I didn't want to see it, and then he said that thing,
Yeah.
and I realized, whoa, what I'm doing is really hypocritical and wrong. It really isn't good for my eyes, so it really isn't good for my stomach either.
I had I got one of my cousins to watch Earthlings, and it didn't have an effect on him. I'm curious about what makes people
I don't
receptive.
understand how that can be. My mom watched the Gary Yourofsky speech too, and she had like no remorse or anything or intentions to go vegan. I don't understand how that's possible, but I don't know if there's an explanation.
I have a little bit of evidence that shows that millennials, people in your generation and younger, well, I guess you're a bit younger than millennials, younger generations tend to be more open to going vegan. There's a higher percentage of people who are vegan who are younger as opposed to older generations. So I wonder if being younger makes people more open to change, or if maybe younger people just have more control over media. They're inundated with information more. I'm not sure. I'm curious about that.
I don't know.
Number four, how can this documentary best be used as an educational tool inside a classroom or outside a classroom? Or the concepts in this documentary?
Well, the documentary itself, I think, can be really, really educational for people who are for people who aren't like me, like for the actual focus group, which are people who are pretty clueless, and then they see this whole thing. And I'm not saying that it didn't like give me any new information. I wasn't aware of how dangerous not being vegan is for the planet and all of the repercussions, but I still knew generally what to do and how to be more ethical and environmental. But for people who have no clue and weren't exposed to these ideas before, I think using this movie and discussing it, documentary, and discussing it would be really, really educational. And breaking down everything that he says, because he doesn't bring up many points throughout the movie, throughout the documentary. Throughout the documentary, it's mostly just documenting his process of madness, like how he tries to get an answer so clear, and he just wants someone to acknowledge the elephant in the room, and throughout the movie, no one would acknowledge it. But generally speaking, the ideas that were shown are very simple and very easy to break down and study. So you can study about what it, like statistically study what how much water it takes and how much methane it produces to have like 1 pound of beef and all of those things and compare them to I don't know, like air pollution from cars or whatever, and fossil. How did he call it? Fossil fires.
Fossil fuels?
Fossil fuels. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what sources of information? You seem to have a lot of information about the environmental impact of animal agriculture before watching this. I'm curious. So, what sources of information did you find on the internet, or where did you get educated about that?
I didn't even have the information in terms of numbers. Like when I say like he brought me new information, I meant like he just taught it well with the numbers and all. And but before I didn't know any numbers. I just knew that methane caused greenhouse gas, and that made global warming because then the heat can't get out into the atmosphere. But I didn't know any like the whole science behind it and the statistics. I just did something that's really natural. They tell you to recycle. That makes sense because it takes a long time for processed things to be decomposed by nature. and I knew what decomposing meant because I studied biology. So I understood that recycling is important and that we don't want to make more plastic, more glass. I understood that cars, I knew all the information that all those green organizations taught us, that cars are, how do you say this in English? Pollutive? Pollutive?
Mm-hmm.
Like they make
Cars
pollution.
pollute a lot.
Yeah. So I knew that, so I started riding my bike, and also it's great exercise. I feel lazy and stupid sitting in a car for 40 minutes when I can drive for 40 minutes.
You mean ride your bike?
And like get lean legs. Woo!
So
lean legs.
how long have you been biking everywhere?
I think for the past 6 months.
And you notice a big difference in your fitness and your health?
What about it?
You notice a big difference?
Oh yeah. It's much more. I feel just more energized. I think it just takes your whole life to a new level. The level of well-being. It just takes it to a whole new level. When you have to bend over to tie your shoelaces, and then you can just come back up without breathing heavily or feeling dizzy, thinking you're gonna faint. Just mundane everyday activities become very easy instead of difficult.
Wonderful. Okay. So I think we're gonna finish up here. Was there anything else you wanted to add about number 4, using the documentary as an educational tool or media literacy?
Well, I think that for media literacy, I think it's a really good tool to see how the media tends to put something on a pedestal while leaving a lot of important things behind and not showing them as well in their impact or importance. And it's really important to remember that when you bring something up in the media, that's not always the thing that's most prominent, and that you have to research on your own all the other things and elements. For example, and it's also good for your well-being to be aware of all the manipulations in the media and merchandising things. For example, there's now a trend of calling food superfood, which is total BS. BS, because all raw foods, plant-based foods are superfoods. All of them are packed with nutrients and vitamins and like protein and carbs and good fats with a correct SP ratio. So every now and then you just call a different food superfood to make the price go up and the demand go up. And that serves the agenda of the people who sell that specific food. And when you understand that superfoods is nothing but a marketing trick, you wouldn't pay extra for something, and you just would learn to be balanced. So that's what I think.
Yes, it's good to question what we see. Well, thank you, Omri, for your interview. And yeah, it's been great. I really appreciate
Thank you for doing this cool project.
I try to do interesting things with my time, as we do. So I will talk to you soon, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.